right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be taking a close look at the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Edge 16. And, you send over a couple articles, one really detailed hands-on from RechargeMyTopup.com, and then kind of like a broader piece that brings in what all the tech experts are kind of saying about it.
Yeah, exactly. And for you listening, the goal is really to figure out, does this thing live up to the hype? Is this AI-powered laptop really everything it's cracked up to be? Especially, if you are someone who wants a powerful machine, but also something that's portable and not too overwhelming with all the tech specs. Like, what really matters to you on a day-to-day basis,
Right, totally. We're going to be looking at everything from the design, which everyone seems to be pretty excited about. It sounds really nice. And then, we'll get into those AI features, which seem to be like the big headline grabbers. We'll see how it actually, can benefit you and make your life easier. So why don't we start with just the first impressions? Like, how does this thing actually look and feel?
Well, both of the sources really highlight the premium build quality right off the bat. We're talking aluminum chassis. It doesn't just look sleek, but they consistently say it feels robust, like it's a well-made machine. And one thing that really stood out is the weight. For a 16-inch laptop, under 1.8 kilograms is pretty impressive, pretty lightweight. So it kind of strikes that balance, right? Like it feels substantial, but not so heavy that you're going to break your back carrying it around.
Right. Yeah. You want something that feels good, that feels premium, but also, like you said, something that's not a burden to kind of lug around with you all day. And then visually, it sounds like this display is really something special. They keep mentioning this AMOLED technology, right?
Oh, yeah. The display is definitely a highlight. So we're talking about a 16-inch dynamic AMOLED 3K display. So that's 2880 by 1800 pixels. Which, it's incredibly sharp, and reviewers are raving about the colors. They're super vibrant, and it gets those really deep blacks that AMOLED is known for. But it's not just about looking good, right? The 120 hertz refresh rate also makes everything feel super smooth. So whether you're scrolling through documents or web pages, or even doing something a bit more demanding like video editing, it's going to feel really fluid and responsive.
Yeah, that smooth scrolling is one of those things you don't really notice until you have it. And then once you have it, you can't go back. But what about brightness? Can you actually use this thing if you're, in a bright room or even outside?
Definitely. It gets up to 600 nits of peak brightness, that's pretty significant. So even if you're in like you said, a brightly lit office, or even trying to get some work done outdoors, you shouldn't have any problem seeing what's on the screen. So it sounds like they managed to make it both visually stunning and practical, which is a good combination.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get into the brains of this operation. What is powering this impressive machine? The much discussed AI brain, right?
Exactly. The heart of it all is the Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite chipset. And, this isn't just your typical processor. The reviews really emphasize its AI capabilities, specifically the neural processing unit, or the NPU, which is dedicated to all those AI tasks.
Okay, so it's not just about being powerful, but it's about the AI actively working to make things more efficient, right? Like, how does that actually translate into daily use?
That's a great question. Think of it like this. It's not just about having a bigger battery. The AI is always learning how you use the laptop and then dynamically adjusts power to different components. So, for example, it might intelligently lower the power to background tasks when you're really focused on something specific. And this can lead to significantly longer battery life compared to a laptop that has, similar specs, but without that AI power management.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And this chip comes with either 16 gigs or a whopping 32 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM. What does that all mean? That sounds very technical, but what does it mean for someone actually using the computer?
Yeah, it can sound like a bunch of jargon, but it essentially means faster, more power-efficient memory. So the system can access information much quicker, which leads to snappier performance. Apps open faster, switching between tasks is smoother, and multitasking in general just feels more effortless. And because it's more efficient, it also contributes to that amazing battery life that we'll talk about a bit later.
Got it. And then in terms of storage, it sounds like there are options all the way up to a terabyte SSD, so you shouldn't really be running out of space anytime soon. And all of this combined, it sounds like it really does deliver that effortless multitasking experience that the reviews are talking about.
Right, exactly. And then on the graphics side, we have the integrated Adreno GPU. So it's not a dedicated gaming card, but it's still a pretty capable GPU.
Right. So for someone who's not a gamer, what kind of graphical power are we talking about here?
Well, you're not going to be playing the latest, AAA games on ultra settings, but it can definitely handle casual games without a problem. Even some more demanding titles should be playable at, medium settings. But more importantly, for everyday use, it provides more than enough power for smooth video playback, browsing the web with lots of media, and basically all your general productivity tasks.
Okay, so it sounds like a pretty well-rounded performance package, especially with that clever AI management you were talking about. Now let's get to the all-important question for a portable machine: battery life. Samsung is making some pretty bold claims here.
They are. Samsung claims you can get up to 20 hours of video playback on a single charge. And of course, this is thanks to that combination of the large 76 watt-hour battery and all those AI-powered energy management features that we discussed earlier. Now, the RechargeMyTopup review, they actually tested it out in more of a real-world scenario, and they're saying that it comfortably lasts a full workday. So that's, your typical mix of web browsing, working on documents, a little bit of streaming, and that sort of thing. And for a 16-inch laptop with this kind of display, that's really impressive.
Yeah, that's a game changer for anyone who is, on the go a lot, doesn't want to be tethered to an outlet, and, constantly worried about that low battery anxiety.
Exactly. And then when you do need to charge it, it supports super fast charging. So you can get back up to 50% battery in just 30 minutes, which is super convenient. If you have a short break between meetings or you're just about to head out, you can top up the battery really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so power, check. Incredible battery life, check. What about staying connected? What kind of wireless and physical connections are we working with here?
Okay, so on the wireless side, you're fully future-proofed. It's got Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.3, so the latest and greatest in terms of speed and reliability. And for anyone who's already in the Samsung ecosystem, they have this really neat multi-control feature. So you can basically seamlessly interact with your Galaxy smartphones and tablets. So you can imagine using your laptop's keyboard and trackpad to control your phone, or just easily dragging and dropping files between your devices. It's really slick if you're, all in on that Samsung world.
Yeah, that ecosystem play is definitely a big selling point for Samsung fans. But what about actual, physical ports? Is there anything essential missing here?
So you do get a good selection for a modern ultra portable. You've got two USB 4.0 Type-C ports, and those are also Thunderbolt 4 compatible.
Thunderbolt 4, that's not just your regular USB-C, right? What's the benefit there?
Yeah, exactly. Thunderbolt 4 it's way faster for data transfer. So if you're moving large files to external drives, it's a huge difference. It also lets you connect, high resolution external displays and even docking stations with all sorts of peripherals, all through that single cable. So it adds a lot of versatility. You've also got an HDMI 2.1 port, a microSD card slot, and then your standard headphone jack combo. I guess the main thing to note is there are traditional USB-A ports. So if you still have any older accessories that use USB-A, you might need to grab some adapters.
Good to know. Okay, so beyond that, raw performance and connectivity, let's talk about software. Are there any, software features that really take advantage of that onboard AI?
Yeah, a couple of things stood out. The reviews talk about Samsung Studio, which is this AI-powered suite that's really aimed at content creators. And the specifics kind of vary a bit between the different sources, but it sounds like you can expect some pretty intelligent tools for photo and video editing. Things like automatically removing objects or enhancing image quality. And then there's Samsung Notes, which is included, and that's likely to have some AI features as well. Things like, summarizing notes or transcribing audio recordings. And then, of course, there's Samsung DeX, which basically turns your laptop into more of a desktop experience when you connect it to an external monitor. So they're really trying to, bridge that gap between mobile and desktop computing.
Right. It's not just about the hardware, but it's also about that layer of intelligent software on top, making the experience, even better. Now, all work and no play makes for a dull day. So how does this thing handle gaming and just general multimedia?
Well, like we said, it's not a hardcore gaming machine, but that Adreno GPU and the smooth 120 hertz display mean that casual games should run really, really well. And, even those more demanding AAA games should be playable at decent settings. Plus, with cloud gaming becoming more and more popular, you can always stream those really high-end games without needing a super powerful machine. And for multimedia, I mean, that vibrant AMOLED display is just, it's gorgeous for watching movies and videos. And it has a quad speaker system with Dolby Atmos, so the audio experience should be really immersive.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. Now, security is always a big concern. What kind of features does Samsung offer for peace of mind?
Well, it sounds like they've got all the bases covered there. So you have Windows Hello Facial Recognition, which is great for quick and secure logins. There's also a fingerprint sensor built into the power button if you prefer that. And under the hood, you've got Samsung's non-security platform, which adds, a deeper layer of hardware-backed protection. And then there's this really interesting feature that I think is worth highlighting. It's called the Privacy Guard. And it uses AI to detect if someone's, maybe looking over your shoulder, and it can actually blur or obscure sensitive information on the screen. So it's another really practical application of that onboard AI.
Yeah, that's amazing. I could definitely see that being really useful, especially, if you're working in a public space or you're, on a plane or something like that. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone through design, we've talked about the AI features, performance, and all that good stuff. But let's take a step back for a second. What's the bigger picture here? And were there any potential downsides that you noticed in those articles?
Right. So if we look at the broader tech landscape, the Galaxy Book4 Edge 16 is really a big part of Microsoft's Copilot Plus PC initiative. And that Snapdragon X Elite processor is central to that. Now, the ARM architecture is what enables that crazy battery life. But it also brings up one of the main potential drawbacks, which is application compatibility. So while Windows has made a lot of progress in emulating x86 apps, performance can still vary. And some older or really niche software just might not run properly or at all. So if you depend on specific x86 software for your work, you really need to do your research and make sure that it's going to run smoothly on this machine. And the reviews also mention that, while it can handle some gaming, it's not really designed for hardcore gamers. And then, of course, being a premium laptop with all this cutting-edge tech, it does come at a higher price point.
Yeah, for sure. Those are all, important considerations for anyone who's thinking about buying this. So based on all that, who do you think is the ideal user for this laptop? Who's going to benefit the most from all these features?
It really seems like the sweet spot for this laptop is professionals, students, content creators, basically anyone who wants a powerful portable machine with a truly premium look and feel. And if you're already using other Samsung Galaxy devices, that seamless integration is a huge bonus. But, like we talked about, if you absolutely depend on specific x86 software for your work, then you need to be aware of that potential compatibility issue.
Okay, good advice. All right, so let's bring it all together for our listener. What are the key takeaways here? What do they absolutely need to know about this Samsung Galaxy Book4 Edge 16?
The bottom line is this is a high-performing laptop, really impressive display, exceptional battery life, and all thanks in large part to that AI-powered Snapdragon X Elite processor. It's great for productivity, it's great for media consumption, and if you're in the Samsung ecosystem, the integration is just, it's fantastic.
And what's one final thought, one question that our listeners should really consider as they're making this decision?
I think the big question is, considering what you do on a daily basis, the software you use, how important is it for you to have, native compatibility with absolutely every x86 application? Or are the benefits of, that incredible battery life, the AI efficiency, that amazing AMOLED screen, are those more important to you? It really comes down to, what are your priorities?
That's a great point. So the Galaxy Book4 Edge 16, it definitely marks a big step forward in, the world of AI integrated mobile computing. And if you understand its strengths, which, like you said, are that gorgeous screen, the all-day battery, all those intelligent features, but also its potential limitations, especially when it comes to, software compatibility, you can make a really informed decision about whether this is the right tool for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time.